Smartphones are amazing devices, but all it takes is one bad drop, and you end up with a cracked, broken screen, just like this Galaxy S9. Most people would throw it away, but don't do that just yet, because a broken phone can become something far more interesting. I've already turned one into a mini PC and even an all-in-one PC here on the channel. But today, we're taking things even further. I'm going to transform this broken smartphone into a fully functional laptop. Let's get started. The phone I'm using for this project is a Samsung S9. I probably don't need to spend too much time introducing it because I've already covered it in my previous two videos. The most important thing about this phone is that it supports video output through its USB-C port. Samsung calls this feature DeX. Without it, this entire project wouldn't be possible. That brings us to the next essential component, the display. For that, I'm reusing an LCD panel salvaged from an old broken laptop. And to connect the phone to the screen, I'm using a controller board that converts the video signal into something the display can understand. If you'd like a more detailed explanation of how all of that works, feel free to check out my previous video where I covered it in much more detail. When it comes to building the enclosure, you could use aluminum sheets or almost any other material you have available. But for this project, I wanted to try something a little different, so I chose PVC plastic. More specifically, I'm going to recycle this PVC pipe. The idea is pretty simple. First, I'll cut the pipe lengthwise. Then I'll use a heat gun to soften the plastic until it becomes flexible. Once it's soft enough, I'll place it between two heavy flat surfaces and compress it. The goal is to reshape the curved pipe into a flat sheet. After waiting about 30 minutes for the plastic to cool and harden again, it should hold its new shape. And just like that, we'll have a flat piece of PVC that can be treated like a normal building material for the rest of the project. It does feel fairly thin, but in terms of strength, I'm confident it'll do the job. What I like most is that it adds almost no extra thickness to the build, which is important when space is already limited. Alright, the next step is to cut a panel that's roughly the same size as the display. Once that's done, I'll use epoxy adhesive to bond the two pieces together. After that, I'll drill two holes near the lower corners of the plastic panel so I can mount a pair of sturdy hinges. As for the hinges, I'm not buying anything new. Instead, I'm going to salvage them from an old broken laptop. I chose a hinge design with a long support arm. The plan is to mount it as close to the display as possible. That way, when the screen is opened and closed, most of the force is distributed through the support arm instead of putting all the stress on the hinge pivot itself. But after stepping back and looking at it, I noticed another problem. The edges of the display were still completely exposed. So the next step was to build a proper frame around it. To do that, I bonded two pieces of PVC together to create an L-shaped strip, then cut them to fit each side of the display. These pieces will act as a protective bezel around the screen. For the corners, I cut the ends at 45-degree angles so they meet cleanly and form neat joints. Once everything was trimmed to size, I glued the pieces into place and let them set. And this is what it looks like. Honestly, it's starting to come together. The overall shape looks much cleaner, more organized, and almost industrial in a way. But there was one thing I still wasn't happy with: the color. The raw PVC just doesn't look very premium. I wanted something with a more polished appearance. So I decided to paint the entire enclosure in gloss black. Before painting, I lightly sanded the surface to give the paint something to grip onto. Hopefully that'll lead to a smoother and more durable finish. And once I peeled off the masking tape, it actually looked surprisingly clean. At this point, the display was basically finished. Now it was time to work on the laptop's base. For this part, I prepared a new set of aluminum extrusions and cut each corner at 45 degrees so everything would fit together perfectly. For the bottom panel, I used a flat plastic sheet. Then I drilled evenly spaced holes through the aluminum frame and transferred those exact positions to the bottom panel. This would allow everything to be securely fastened together with screws later on. Before installing the aluminum frame, I needed to secure all of the components inside the system. First up was the display controller board. Once I found the right position, I marked and drilled 3 mounting holes to match the screw locations. Then I installed 6mm threaded standoffs and secured them from the backside with screws. With that done, the controller board was locked in place. Next came the power source. I decided to use a high-capacity 30-watt power bank to power the entire system, including both the phone and the display controller board. After figuring out the best layout, I drilled an opening for the Ethernet port. Since the phone would be enclosed inside the chassis, I didn't want the metal and electronics affecting Wi-Fi performance. Then I mounted the USB hub and the power bank. As for the phone itself, I used a flexible phone case attached directly to the base panel. This keeps the build lightweight and also makes the phone easy to remove. That way, if I ever want to upgrade or replace it with another phone, I can simply slide it out and drop a new one in. Next, I needed a way to keep the power bank charged without constantly opening up the laptop. So I routed its charging port to the back of the system. The process was actually pretty simple. I cut a USB charging cable and wired it to a female USB connector. Once installed, this port can be connected to a USB adapter, a phone charger, or just about any standard USB power source. That means the power bank can be charged directly from the outside without taking the laptop apart every time it needs power. That's when I realized I had completely forgotten to install the display hinges. So I went back, marked the mounting points, and drilled the necessary holes. At first I was worried that mounting the hinges directly to the bottom panel wouldn't be strong enough, but I was wrong. Once everything was tightened down, it felt far more solid than I expected, with almost no noticeable flex or wobble. After installing the rest of the aluminum frame, I still wasn't completely satisfied with the overall precision of the build. But considering this started as a spontaneous idea with no professional drawings, no CAD models, and no real plan, I'd say the result was more than acceptable. Now it was time to work on the top cover. Just like the bottom section, I used a flat plastic panel and cut it to fit the frame. Another important step was adding a keyboard and trackpad so the device could actually function as a laptop. For this build, I picked up a Bluetooth keyboard designed for tablets. It comes with pretty much everything you'd expect from a regular laptop keyboard, along with a built-in trackpad, making it a perfect fit for this project. To mount the keyboard, I placed it on top of the plastic panel and traced its outline to create a cutting guide. The shape was a little tricky to cut accurately, so I used an angle grinder to smooth out the corners and clean up the edges. Eventually, everything sat flush with the surface. It may not look perfect, and I'll admit it's a little rough around the edges, but it's the best result I could achieve with the tools and materials I had. One more thing, I was able to remove the keyboard's rear cover and get rid of its internal battery. Instead, I wired it directly to the power bank, so the entire system could run from a single power source. After that, I secured the top panel in place. And just like that, my laptop was finally complete. As for performance, this thing definitely isn't breaking any records. But it does exactly what I built it to do. I can watch YouTube videos, browse the web smoothly, and handle everyday tasks without any major issues. I've already covered the performance side in some of my previous videos, so if you're curious about the benchmarks and gaming tests, feel free to check those out. And I know some of you probably won't be impressed by the design. Industrial design isn't my specialty, but I genuinely wanted to take this project seriously and build something functional from scratch. This is the result of 2 days of work. To be honest, I'm still not completely satisfied with how it turned out, but every project teaches me something new. And hopefully the experience from this build will help me create something even better next time.